Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I'm on chess.com right now, and I just got paired up with Dragonstone. So, this is a 3-2 time control. So let's see what we get. Nimzo-Indian. Okay. Classical variation. Let's do a quick strike at d4. And we're going to go with this line here. I'm prepared to give up my dark square bishop. Pretty much have to be with this line. Or just the Nimzo-Indian in general. So I'm hoping to get a lead in development here, or put that to good use, I should say. Let's play b6. Defend my knight, so I can mate e4 with d5. Okay, they're giving my knight a kick. Alright, this is a little bit awkward. Knight b7. I wonder if I've already misplayed it. Okay, I don't have very many options. I wonder if I should have inserted a5 first. Okay. We're going to run with it. Well, I don't have very many options. Let's go to b7. A fianchettoed knight at this early stage in the game, or any stage of the game for that matter, is really not good news. Alright, let's still try and open it up. I realize my opponent has the bishop pair, but I'm going to try to put the the time advantage that I have to use here. So, okay. I could saddle white with an isolated pawn. Maybe I could shoot for that. I could question this bishop soon. Okay, they're first gaining a tempo against my queen. Knight here, probably not good. Okay. We're going to go here. I'm going to get this bishop back, I believe. I'll end up with doubled pawns. The question I have, queen takes or pawn takes? Probably queen takes. If I'm going to end up with doubled pawns near my king. Yeah, let's go for this. So, we both have a structural defect. My king will have a fine home here. Let's see. I can open up the A file for my rook. Maybe I should shoot for that right now. Or first get in king e7. Let's do this right now. Maybe I could go in for a quick capture and then rook to a4. If this pawn ever moves, this knight'll... the knight's placement on b7 will look amazing. Knight to c5. Okay, they're not going to give that square up so easily. Let's get this file open. And maybe I should strike right away. I'm a little bit concerned about some stuff. What stuff am I concerned about? I'm concerned about like rook here, pawn push with a bishop check, fork. Also on knight d4, I have to be concerned about knight c6. This move might be a bit scary. Because on takes, knight there, okay. I have this one covered. I think e5 and on takes, knight here. I wouldn't have this move. Okay. So I feel like I could gain something. Let's get this rook working first. And now maybe knight here is something I can look into. Let's go for this right now. I think this was a mistake, the castling move. This is increment. I'm hitting two pawns that are now unprotected. c4 hit twice, defended once, hit once, defended 0. So I can take here. I might as well pull the trigger on that one. He could be pinned, but I'll defend. Gotta do that. I'll try to get out of this pin as soon as possible, and I could do so with this move. So I have this knight under control. He's really well centralized, but he's under control. So they could get a pawn back, but I'll get b4. I have all my pieces working. There is this. Knight check, but it's only a check, really. And just get out of the way, and then I'm attacking the knight. So let's take here. Am I missing anything? I don't think so. The knight could enter here with tempo, but it's nothing. Knight check, king here, knight d6, rook c6, and then they've exhausted all the checks. So I can't take here. Okay, so they're going in for that. Just back up here. King here, I'm exposed to checks over there. Let's do this. It's my initial thought, so let's just go with it. Pressure on this knight. You know what? I don't know about that, actually. Well, I better move quick. Yeah, I think I would have liked that square better for my bishop, actually. Not really liking my decision to do that. Okay, let's back up. 11 seconds. Not a lot. King here gives another check. I want to trade a little bit. This knight is a real pest. I could think about this pawn move. No, not really. Alright, my idea is going to be, I think, rook c5 and then bishop to c6. Yeah, and in the meantime, he's got that. Okay, I could go here, though. Are they going to get that pawn? You see, now they don't have this check. The knight has to find a new home. Okay, and if they have to go and defend their knight, 8 seconds, 8 seconds, 8 seconds. My goodness. Okay, I think rook d4 is needed. I think I'll push the pawn on rook to d4. Pawn takes, yeah, let's go for this. On knight takes, I could take here. I'm still up a pawn. Pawn takes, I take here, and then take the knight, and I'm winning a piece. Not getting mated. Knight takes bishop, king takes, rook check. My king escapes to f6. I have a very active b4 rook. Both rooks are active. Less than a minute for my opponent. Alright, we'll see how this one finishes up. We'll see where the mistakes are made. Afterwards. I'm just going to take here. My next move. If a nothing move is played like a king move. Or a pawn move, but I'm threatening to just take here. No tricky forks. I have to watch out for c8 and f5. And my king is restricted. It has to defend my bishop. I gotta recapture. I can insert a couple checks. No. Okay, let's recapture the pawn. I'm up a pawn, but not easy to convert. Okay, I have that covered. 5 seconds. Let's see if I can convert this. I want to trade one pair of rooks, I think. It's not going to be easy. Okay, I'm going to have to block. Ugly pawn structure incoming. Very ugly pawn structure, but it is an extra pawn. We're going to work with it. Let's go for a time gainer. Everybody loves a time gainer. Now, how could I try to get something out of this? I'd like to trade him off, but even so, it's quite difficult. Let's cut the king off. Maybe this move and my king could sneak in at some stage. Inch my way up, still playing under 10 seconds. They're catching up on time. That's a mistake. And now I believe I'm winning. They ran right into a pin. Okay, I'm going to take like that. King and pawn ending is 1. So now they're very restricted. Let's march my king up a little bit. And up a little bit more. Not so fast. To watch out for stalemate tricks as well. Get my king over. These are connected past pawns. It took a while for me to realize that. But I'm going to have a role reversal here. I'm going to play here and then rook up and then rook to a4 stuff. Let's get my king out of the way. Let's go here, just so if he queens, it's not with check. Now I'm threatening to queen with check. Rook to h1 as well. And that's going to win the house. Probably resign right about here. Just playing on out of momentum. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, they resign now. So Let me bring up Stockfish. I don't have a good feeling about this one. I'm pretty sure I misplayed it in the early stage of the game, but yeah, let's see what Stockfish has to say about this game. Okay, let's see where we could have improved, both of us. So, this is a Nimzo-Indian Classical. Takes, and right here after f3, is b6 already a mistake? I believe it is. Computer calls out for d6, and I imagine on b4 in this case. Initially I was thinking, well, d6 so the knight can retreat here, and that's fine, but there's also the idea of knight a4, and on queen c2, this diagonal is now open, so my bishop can watch over the knight. b6 doesn't allow for this idea. This knight is also making life uncomfortable for the bishop to fianchetto. Is b6 a mistake? Yeah, we could already address it as a mistake. That's a bit silly. I was too focused in on this follow-up of e4 right away, and I was prepared to meet that move e4 with d5, opening things up, and on b4 now, I still have that same idea with knight a4 and bishop d7 to defend. I don't know why I was thinking e4 was the only move here. Yeah, b6 was too much. Just to give you an idea, what is it? Yeah, there's an evaluation shift there. So I should be playing d6, and on e4 I could get on with castles and just throwing out a couple more moves. Bishop e3, and giving it a little bit of time to think. Bishop to d7, and, well, we go on from here. There's an eventual, in some sense, a tempo move with rook to c8 I get to activate, and this is a bit uncomfortable for the queen to be opposite the rook, so there might even be moves like b5 tied in from this point. But okay. Move 8, this is not good. Instead I should be going for d6, but b6 is on board, so I'm really having to fight from behind. It's still calling out for knight a4 here, but I fianchettoed my knight. It's close to a pawn advantage here for white. Now I play e5, and this is already a pawn advantage with e5. Yeah, it definitely felt like I got away with something in the early stage. This would have been a good structural change for white. e5, knight d7, f4. And look at my knights. It's ugly. I mean, I have I have pieces out. I'm one move away from castling. But it's hard to see how this knight on b7 does anything. You know, this knight just kills him. Or this pawn on b4 kills him. And so too does this pawn on e5. Ouch. So this really could have gone way wrong for me. They were too quick to go in for the development, and now this is pretty much back to even. And a move d4 is one that I did not even consider. Pass pawn with tempo, and I imagine this is one of the ideas to follow up with e5. Also, it's the queens will remain on board with this, so queen d3, e5. See, these are these variations that I'm going through. In this particular game, I find quite interesting just the different structural changes and being able to accurately assess who will stand better within a particular structure. I don't have very much experience at all. I don't think I can say I have any experience with this particular structure, so it's interesting. We have d5, bishop g5. I take, so yeah, it is around even now. That was a good move. Rook to d1. I mean, because if this right away, I had planned h6, and, well, I guess you could still go ahead and grab that tempo, but if you're going in for it right now, it's the same position, but with this piece, not as active still on his home square. So he first inserts this rook d1 move, queen e7, takes. It doesn't like the takes move. Instead, the immediate recapture. Yeah, that makes sense, right? Yeah, white should wait. White should wait and wait for this move, h6. Get on with the recapture. Because I have to do this anyway, so you might as well wait for me to spend this tempo. I didn't have to spend a tempo. So white went in and captured that pinned piece. Recapturing, and it's surprisingly enough starting to like black just a little bit. About a half pawn advantage. I responded the right way here with a5 immediately. I did, however, consider king e7. Yeah, I guess this is one of those strike while the iron's hot. While you have that lead in development, look to open the position. How many more moves? 3 more moves before white is castled. However, I don't know that white would really want to castle. More reasonable would be like castling by hand, king f2, king e3. This would seem like a fine home for the king. In the center, it's not too complicated position. It's on a dark square opposite that of my remaining bishop. So, yeah, king e7, okay, it's fine with king e7. It likes a5 as well. Knight out. e5, I didn't consider. I took. No issues there. King e7, and this is the move that I feared. e5 is being called for because I can't develop here now because of takes, and my king is being diverted away from defending my bishop. So what would I do on e5? It suggests rook to a4. But this started to scare me a little bit, I can't take this pawn because of forks on c7. Oh, although on that move I have this, and on pawn takes, now I could take back. The knight is masking the rook from seeing my bishop. Okay, my bishop ended up here in the game. Knight d4, bishop d7, rook h to c8, so now I'm up about a pawn advantage. Knight f3 it liked, yeah. It's tough. This knight on b7, it's just a terrible, terrible piece, but it starts to look amazing as soon as knight d6 is played, hitting a couple pawns here. It did shift from here on out. I scoop up a pawn. I defend. Is that what it was calling for? There's no... Oh, I had knight d2. I just defended. I had knight to d2. Bishop takes rook, knight takes rook. Bishop b7, rook c7. Take my knight, I take here. Bishop versus knight, I'm up a pawn. It's not the most healthy of pawns, but... Yeah, bishop for knight, pawn still on both sides of the board. I don't know. Okay, I went with probably the more... the safer move, the one that requires less calculation. Just defend the threat and get on with activating that rook soon. Get out of the pin soon. Rook there, rook a4. Knight check, king f8. Was anything else missed? Rook c6. This felt very uncomfortable. My other thought was rook here. Rook c5. Yeah, that's not my first instinct, though. When your piece is attacked, to look into those moves that have the, throw a punch back. Rook c6. It's not bad, but yeah, something felt uncomfortable to me about doing that move, this move, rook c6, because I'd really like to activate my bishop. Rook c5, I guess, would have been better. Right there, bishop to e8. His knight takes pawn is threatened. Did that. Rook there, and now king e7, yeah. So, yeah, this turned out to be not so good. this little rook h4. I improve my king position. The rook comes back over to defend the knight. And h5 is being called for. I played b5, I think, pretty quick in the game. Ooh. It doesn't like that. Are they getting the pawn back, or is it just calling this ending drawn? Let's see. Knight takes, king takes, rook d8. Huh. Okay, instead of taking the pawn, it likes rook d8, king e7, rook 8 to d7. Ah! Much different now. By inserting this capture first, my rook is then patrolling the 5th rank, so I could interpose on the f5 square. Ah. So, they actually helped me out by first capturing. I improved my rook position. Yeah, that's what's going on here. So if rook d8 now, they didn't do that in the game. But if they played rook d8 and then gave another check, king f6, rook f1, we get similar to the game. Interesting. So a little bit of move order, right? To give the check first, or to give or to capture. Yeah, check, check. King here, I'm in trouble. Rook f1 and f7 is collapsing. Okay, they captured. And what about this ending where, oh, hang on for a moment. I should be doing something different. Ah, rook c7. You know what? Here's another thing I think is important to share. Right around this point, I was saying I'd like to exchange a rook, and I don't know if that's, I don't think that that's objectively best. I think I should be trying to keep both rooks on the board, keep it a little bit tactical, because maybe it's too easy to go ahead and draw if it's the technical type where it's one rook each. I was just doing it with, I said that with an eye on time. It's simpler to play. But objectively, I think I should still try and keep more pieces on the board. Simplifying it is, maybe tending more towards a draw. But, okay, king f6. I block. And yeah, so this is like an insignificant advantage. You really can't convert this. What would be the correct way to hold a draw? Well, we know where white slipped up going into this pin, but what's the easiest way to try and hold this? It likes just improving the king position. I guess approaching this pawn, right? Put pressure on him as soon as possible. King f3. And give lateral checks here. Or maybe even sneak behind to give checks. Like something like this, let's say. Well, if king here, there's this check. Maybe. If king here, if this check and I ever block, now this rook could come back here and then give checks from behind. That might be an idea. So immediately approaching with the king is called for. h3. I don't know if this is really something that can be converted. Half pawn advantage for black, but yeah, they really just helped me out. I didn't do anything special with that king h2 move, and that's just the game loser right there. I mean, I think at this point we were both living off of the increment, but yeah, this is tough. I was expressing, I was saying during the game, I would really like to exchange my unhealthy pawn, one of my doubled pawns, for this guy, but even in those cases, it's quite difficult to convert being up a pawn in this single rook ending. Yeah, and from there, I don't think that thing slipped. The idea here was just to keep marching what I have now. 2 connected pass pawns. It took a while before they were connected, but once they were in play, or once they were connected, it was easy to convert. And just one small detail, I know it was just during Blitz, but staying off of that queening square. You don't have to, it's just a good rule of thumb, stay out of the harm's way. If it does get into a time race type of situation, you have to calculate that stuff, just stay off of that queening square, so it's not coming with check. Rook there, and this is just pushing through, and they resigned. Okay, yeah, ugly opening, b6, should have been d6 in this classical variation. And, well, I guess lesson learned. My opponent, again, could have forced me into a not-so-good structure here. And, as usual, I hope you got something out of this video. Feel free to leave any comments in the comment section below, and I'll catch you in the next one. That's all for now. Take care. Bye.